So this is the third membership meet, and today, this is just an overview, really. You can go to the next one. This is what we sent out as the invitation. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the retention analysis feedback, what we have done so far in retention, in the mission retention, what you've done with the chorus culture analysis and the feedback via the surveys. We have a number of people that are on this Zoom meeting for the first time. So we may go back a little bit and talk about the chorus culture analysis and the surveys, which were challenge number 1 and 2. We're really not going to go into a lot of specifics. But at the end of this slide presentation, if somebody has questions, I have included some of the specific slides that talk in more in-depth about the culture as well as surveys. And I'm going to, at the end of this Zoom meeting, send out this slide presentation so that you'll all have the slides and be able to click on the links and so on. I want to just get a little overview, a little idea of how you think the monthly challenges are working, go over a little bit about the challenge for this month and talk about December's, as well as I think most of the time really talking about the highlights from the RMT membership networking in Kansas City. What we did in Kansas City, anyone present was invited to a networking session on Monday. And we spent most of the time with our individual counterparts from other parts of the world. So it really got a lot of ideas. Some of them we're already doing, others, potentially will work for us in terms of membership recruitment, membership retention, and so on. Next slide, please, Mary. Oh, by the way, Mary Connolly is my Vanna at this point. And Mary, if there's any way you can figure out a way to do the other, that would be appreciated. Just an overview. As I said, the challenge number 1 is really about analyzing our chorus culture. And I think for a lot of us, my recommendation is with these challenges, don't approach it as a task to complete, a task to check the box. The value really is in doing these challenges. However, I realize that the timeline is not always manageable. So whether you get it done in the time period in that month is one thing, but to spend the time doing it is really, really valuable to membership retention, because this first challenge really talks about where we are now. If we don't know where we are now or who we are and what do we believe, how are we going to be able to move forward? Where are we going? And how will we retain people? So there is a lot of information on the mission retention website in Sweet Adelines, which I have provided the link for, and we can talk more about that one-on-one in the future. The second challenge, and I know Jen, next slide, Mary. We talked about why they stay, why they leave, and the second one was tell me what you want, doing surveys, doing an example, providing a survey. One of the things that I really want to do within the region is to provide a library of surveys. Again, as well as a Google Drive for our membership programs that we as choruses follow. You know, we do not need to reinvent the wheel each time. And it's the same thing with the surveys. There are some survey examples that Sweet Adelines has provided, and this is one link to the exit survey. I often think that people in general, whether it's the corporate world, Sweet Adelines, are afraid of surveys. There's a little hesitation. Well, what if? You know, and I think if the surveys are worded, I'm not going to say the word properly, but if thought is taken, they don't have to be a griping session. You know, it's not about what, you know, what went wrong. It's about, unless you know what to improve, you're not going to be able to improve. So there's all for all of us. There are, whether it's within the chorus life itself, chorus new member surveys. New members have a unique perspective. What are they seeing? What works? What doesn't work? We can't improve unless we know. And I firmly believe there's really nothing that we can't deal with as a team, as a membership team, as a chorus, whether we're a what are the two types of it, whether we're run by a management team or whether we're run by a board together. I don't think there's going to be anything that a survey is going to tell us that we're not going to be able to handle. So please don't be afraid. Don't have fear of the unknown, because the unknown provides us with the answers for us to be able to go forward. Now, next slide, really, I just wanted to touch base with you all to see what experiences you've had in the last couple of months, your thoughts, your experiences, as far as members, the mission retention, the chorus culture analysis, the feedback surveys. What's worked, what's not worked, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I have a thought. On I mean, we've done the 3 challenges. The one that was a little bit most difficult, of course, was the survey, getting people to participate in it. Those that did participate, they gave some really great information, some things that we didn't know. And what we're doing right now is, excuse me, we're still as the management team, and we're also pulling in the director and our music team to see how we can best address those major concerns that some of our members posed in that survey. And then, you know, we're going to try to rework how we're doing things, and then also involve the chorus as a whole in how they want these things changed, more so than just writing on a piece of paper.
Kathy, what was the focus of your survey? What were
this? It was pretty much the satisfaction, and are we addressing the members' wants and needs?
Okay, so it was a member satisfaction survey.
Yeah.
Regarding music, rehearsals, everything.
Honestly, we put a little bit of everything in it. Okay. It was really a broad picture, but specific questions. And hopefully when we did a question and somebody had an answer, we were also trying to get them to provide us a solution or a path in which to correct it. Didn't always work, but you know, we tried.
Sounds like a great survey.
It does. It kind of answers everything that I was talking about. So you can't change anything until you know what the issues are.
Right.
Being able to be solution-based is really critical. And we've also spent a lot of time in the past membership meets talking about involvement of your director, the leader, the entire leadership
Mhm.
team. So the director, the music team, everybody's got to be on board with the plans for the future, for the plans for a membership drive, for the plans for membership retention. So it sounds like everything.
Well, that's what we're hoping. Yep.
And I think sometimes we expect 100% participation, and the reality is we're not going to get 100% participation. We're not going to even probably get 50% participation. And at some point in the next couple of weeks, I will send out an email. And if you can get approval from your leadership team, maybe putting together a folder whereby we share with each other the surveys that we,
Okay.
so that we have a library of surveys, not just what Sweet Adelines has provided for us. Anyone else? What about the chorus culture analysis?
All right, I'll chime in on that too. I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
We're in the midst right now of, I mean, we have a chorus culture, which even though I've been a member of this chorus for many years, I'm still learning about. But we're constantly questioning our culture. And right now, it's even more so because we've gone through the loss of a director that we've had for a very long time. And now we are bringing in, we do have another director. So it's almost like our culture is changing. It's really, it's all over the place. Some of the things that we used to put a value on somehow kind of have gotten pushed off to the side. So we're trying to really solidify it and bring it back.
Well, I'm trying, let me see if I can get to the slide. Mary, if you go back to slide number 4, that really addresses that. And it's even more specific on within the retention playbook that gives you examples of what it looks like to sit there, whether it's an evening process, one chorus session, whether it's a day-long process of really analyzing your chorus culture. Things change. What Kathy's pointed out, honestly, things have changed since the pandemic. People are focused on, priorities have changed. How we go to work every day has changed. People and choruses are changing. So where are we now is really important, and understanding who you are with these changes, whether it's a big change in membership, an increase, a decrease, directors, so many different things change our perspective. And honestly, in order to retain our members, we need to do this. Go back. Sorry.
Can I chime in about Spirit of
Yep.
Syracuse? We have our chorus culture defined in a statement, and because of international competition and the fact that we have new directors and a large increase in members, we are planning to do a review of everything with everybody kind of thing. So, just to, it's on the plan to address, and all those things are such a huge factor in who you really are and what your values are.
Now, I will suggest that there are resources outside of your course. If you feel, and in many
Hey,
instances,
Ev, we have a hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, I
It's
can't.
okay. It's Jen.
See any of this. That's
That's all right. So I was gonna say pretty much similar.
Could you say who you are before you start talking? Because
Sure, it's Jen Wiseman from Liberty.
Okay, sorry.
We also, speaking to the same point, regarding Spirit of Syracuse. We have a mission statement. We have the, we have our statement about who we are and everything. And we had developed not that long ago. We had had a whole big meeting and had whiteboards and people writing things down and the whole chorus involved. And it was a great session, a goal setting session. We had a PowerPoint presentation and we had 4 different areas we were working on, and it was fabulous. But getting ready for international, we've just had so much to do that with this member retention program, I have to admit, we kind of are doing the tasks and not really spending the time now because we can't. The rehearsals are just, the rehearsal time is too valuable and we can't spend that time right this minute. And when it came to the surveys, we've developed a survey. We haven't administered yet because, again, we just didn't have the time to do it before international. And now regional is going to come up so fast in March that with all the coaching we have in there, I don't know that we're going to get to it before that either, but we've got it. We've got a great survey. We just haven't given it out yet. We did, we're trying to do, we did a party where we were all watching the quartet competition at international. So we got a picture for that. And, the compliments and that kind of thing. We've been trying to do all these things. Everything is a great idea. Fitting it in is our challenge, trying to figure out where to put that when we've got all the things that Katie wants to do in rehearsal. So,
well, and I think I was realistic in the earlier membership meets when we got some of these challenges that were presented to us and the amount of time given, especially the first one, with the vision and the mission, and was not going to happen that we were going to have one of those sessions. Choruses are at different stages of their life cycle at this point. And I just want to stress that it's exactly what you're saying. It's important to do it. It may not happen today. Yeah. Just because it's a lot to have that process and go through that process within a 3-week period of time. With all we're going through, I just want to stress, don't lose sight of it's important. Yes, I do think it's become a task for some of us, some of our choruses, maybe not for others. I think, what I would like to offer at some point, and this is actually, we have an RMT meeting next week, and I have put this on the agenda for us to discuss who has the ability within the region to facilitate a session whereby you can assess your vision, your mission, run some of these sessions. So for some of our courses, it may be beneficial to have someone from the outside come in, who has experience, who has training, facilitating these types of sessions. So I will get that back to you. Like I said, this is going to be a topic of discussion. I know there are people like, for example, Diane Porsche, who's in Buffalo. She is a visual communications judge. This is something she does. She runs these classes. When Region 15 and when whatever that was called, when the 8 choruses from Region 16 came over, she facilitated a session with leadership, looking at how we as a combined group were going to put together our vision, our mission, what were our goals, and how are we going to get there. She's an individual. I know, Barbara Wright from Spirit of Syracuse, Alexis, I believe Harriet is trained. I know there's people in Region 1 that are just, a drive away. So that is something, if you're interested, probably after regional, or let me know. And like I said, we're going to put together this list, and there will be, there are individuals who are trained facilitators to help you. And I personally think it's a good idea to have someone from outside because they don't have any skin in the game. They are trained to keep things positive, to assess what's working, what's not working. And you know, the important thing with these kinds of sessions is to not go, you know, off on tangents, and not for it to become just like the surveys, a focused on negative, what's not working. You know, it has to be on what, it has to be where you are now, and there can't be judgments placed on where you are now. It's about the future. So I personally think, I don't know how anybody else thinks. How did yours, Jen? Was it done within the chorus? Who facilitated it? Katie?
When we've had a couple of them, and one was facilitated, this was quite a long time ago, facilitated by an outside person. And it was actually a little more challenging. We were going through a lot of growth and trying to decide, this was right as we were starting our kind of international journey, and trying to make sure that we were, that everyone was on the same page as far as that level of push that it was going to take, because it was going to be a lot more commitment to attendance, and it's going to be more money, and it was going to be this and that. So that one it was helpful, but it was also a little scary and a little challenging. There were definitely differences of opinion. The one that we did internally about 18 months ago or thereabouts, maybe a little less, was really more of a board presentation for the chorus in terms of the different areas that we wanted to focus on, and how we were going to get there, and what tasks we could do to apply to each of these different areas: membership and fundraising and musical excellence and all of that. And it was actually really well received, really well organized. It felt very, very positive, and everyone was on board. We did get some people who were willing to do more helping out with things, which was great. That's always the biggest challenge we find, is getting more than just the 10 to 20% of the people who do 90% of the work. Trying to get more people doing more than just coming to rehearsals and singing. So that's always the biggest challenge, is to try to spread out the wealth of opportunity for people to help out with the myriad of tasks that need to be done to keep especially a big chorus that's trying to do international every other year running, and finding the time for things outside of music, so finding the opportunity to make sure everyone feels included, and to do the social things and stuff. And I think we're actually doing a really good job with it. But like I said, we just haven't been able to kind of update it since then, because we've been in this cycle where we're just awfully busy, and it's fun. It's great. I'm not complaining about it. And I haven't heard a lot of complaints. So we haven't been as worried about the fact we haven't been able to follow through, because right now everything's going okay.
Well, and one of the things that sticks out to me in your well, there's several things, but one is that your culture is defined by all the activities that you're talking about, and about musical excellence, and about going to international, and about being competitive. And one of the things we talked about in the past, and we're going to focus on all the time, is that sense of belonging, and that sense of feeling like you fit, or you found your home. That is your culture. If someone, and that is the culture that you portray on your Facebook, in your media, and your social media presence, that what people see has to equal what they're walking into, and has to be what they want. And that may not be the culture for all choruses. If their culture is that if they don't want that competitive nature, and they don't want going to international every year and the focus being there, if they want getting together and singing and doing community events, then probably Liberty Oak is not the chorus for them. But there's other choruses nearby. So I think that's why, to me, chorus culture and knowing who you are and being congruent in everything that you do is important. And it's not important necessarily if you do it when Sweet Adeline says to do it, but to do it, to think about it. So don't feel, I think a lot of us were feeling a little like, oh my God, I can't get this done. Like, are you kidding me? But you did what you had to do. Like, make an effort, get your name in there, get your picture in there, get in the drawing, get your opportunity to win that money. Any other comments about the culture? Next slide, ma'am. Next slide, please. Okay, for those of you that have been on the other sessions, you're going to get really sick of seeing this slide. You're going to see it every single presentation because I love it. And I really think it's important. And we've talked about it, the chorus's sense of identity, being more you. Members need to connect with the chorus culture, what they're expecting, their perceptions, and the reality need to mesh. What keeps them coming back is a sense of belonging. Now, there are going to be, this all looks pretty touchy-feely, emotional, the why people come and why they stay is much more than this, but feeling that sense of belonging and knowing that there is a place for them is really important. And one of the other things we talked about in the past, and what some of the surveys, not necessarily the satisfaction surveys, but identifying what people are good at, what are their gifts, what might they be able to contribute. Everybody is able to contribute something. And the reality is, whether you have 80 members or 12 members, and granted, it is harder when you have 12 members and 10 to 20% are doing all the jobs. But that's the reality in all our choruses. There's always going to be, you know, the 10 or 20% that are going to do the majority of the work. I see some other choruses, I don't know, my perception, Laura, you're on here, of Sirens, you seem to get more people involved. You seem to get people taking on roles. True, not true? What?
Yeah, our membership's really involved. We have over 70% that are involved in some sort of leadership or engagement with others in the chorus to support the chorus. So I would say we focus on this piece the most. And actually we've been challenged recently because we're talking a lot about society membership and what that means, and to what extent that influences or not this sense of belonging and the culture of the organization. So it's and actually that's been quite challenging. I think when we can control the entire culture, that it's much easier. Like, we understand who the people are who come to Sirens. It's a very, very cohesive group, even though it's incredibly diverse. But I would say that there's a smaller amount of engagement as soon as you kind of come out of that bubble of being in the chorus itself.
Do you think it's because your culture is clearly defined?
Our culture is certainly clearly defined. I mean, it's reinforced with every interaction we make with the chorus members, from the music we choose to how we conduct it, how we conduct rehearsals to how we celebrate people's successes, how we support people in their lives outside of chorus, how we support them in things that they're going through. A lot of people feel like this is their support system in addition to it being their chorus and their hobby. And because of that, they're very, very invested. Usually when we lose chorus members is because they move out of the city. And so, but they leave, they're like, this is the one thing that kept me afloat as I was in the city that I don't like, is often a comment that we hear. But yeah, I think the culture is a huge part of that. Like, we like winning, we like doing really, really well, but like our emphasis is more on, you know, personal improvement, and not about sort of the external pressures of, you know, being judged or, you know, doing, you know, beating another chorus. Like, those things never even come up ever when we're talking about things. We talk like the thing that we were most proud of is like our most improved, which I'm so excited that Sweet Adelines recognizes that. That's like really super great. Anyway.
Laura, that's really inspiring to hear you talk about that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, there's so many points that you brought up. I mean, it increases the involvement if people understand the culture and the importance of everyone being involved, whether it's the music team, the director, the selection. And when I talk about expectations and perceptions and the reality needs to mesh, the choice of music, the performances, you know, the community engagements, what's important may not necessarily be a function of, are we getting paid for that performance, but is it something that is, does it fit our culture? Does it enhance what we believe in? And is it good for the community? You know, down the road, I don't think membership and increasing the numbers can be the end goal, nor the scores. And I know that sounds kind of Pollyanna, but I've seen it work too many times. And I can tell you, I personally believe that's a culture that North Metro goes by every single day, every single week. You know, Erin Howden in that performance at International, one of the, you talk about most improved chorus. I think for them, it was the most entertaining chorus. You know, getting that was very important to her and to them. So sometimes what we focus on, it's not about beating people, it's about ourselves, you know, and I think that only good will come of that, and members will stay and members will get involved. And whether it's initially starting with little jobs, everybody is capable of doing something, you know, so give them a little job, get them involved, get them, you know, if somebody's coming and they're not welcomed and they're not spoken to and they don't feel as if they're cared for, they're not going to come back. They're just not. Why would we in today's day and age? And I think we as choruses, we become so involved in what we are doing and the coaching sessions and the learning new music and so many different things that sometimes this gets put on the side burner and forgotten about. And I think it has to take a bit more precedence for us to continue. Mayor, next one, please. Okay. So this really goes kind of along with what we've been talking about. This is the focus of challenge number 3. that's what I like about you. And all I can think of is that song. I just, uh, everyone likes to be appreciated. And why they stay, this challenge and participating in it, I think can reap so much benefits. And it doesn't have to be, when I first looked at this, and I know my membership coordinator for my course, Deb, we talked about this because initially it was like, oh my God, like, how are we going to do this? It looks like a bigger task than it really is. So really all they're asking you to do is print and write each member's name on a compliment tree. Spend some time during the rehearsal passing them around so each member can write just one complimentary adjective on each leaf. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. It's just one word. And everyone think about how it will feel when you take home that one sheet with your name on it that has somebody thinks you're whatever they think. And the next slide has that tree. I don't know, what do people think? Have you tried it yet? Are you planning on doing it? Any ideas on how to streamline this?
I have some. I was trying to figure out how to get this done during rehearsal because, as Jen had said, rehearsals are busy, and directors don't always like to put aside any time for anything other than singing and rehearsing. So, I mean, I've been grappling with this for a while, since we only have like 1 week left, because the 27th, there's no rehearsal for a Wednesday. But a thought I had was to make all the copies, like you say, put the person's name on it, lay them all out on a table, and then have each member, I don't know if you're coming in on Wednesday night for rehearsal, just pass the table and take each piece of paper and write it as you're going down the line. And this way it's done. And then we can take the photo and send it in, because to try to pass them around during a rehearsal, to me, is like impossible. It's an impossibility. So I thought about setting something off to the side and letting them do it like, like I said, like an assembly line, really, but enough time that they can actually see who that person is, give a little thought to the 1 word or 2 words, and get it done in that fashion.
That's the thought I had as well.
Yeah.
Because giving people, you don't want them to take it home. It doesn't have to be.
No.
I know our membership team and Deb in a second, or Bonnie, you can address, I don't know if it was membership, or I know one of our sections. Yes, Bonnie, it was the lead section.
It was the lead section. We divided names among all the leads. We each ended up with 4 people. We wrote notes of encouragement and we passed them out at International.
But it wasn't always the easy getting responses from everyone.
Oh, absolutely not. There was a lot of pushback. People weren't comfortable exposing that side of themselves, being emotional. But we worked with them. We provided examples of things you could write. And
so I think this is less threatening because it's one
it's
word.
one word. Yeah.
It's not exposing your feelings, your emotions for some people that can't. So I think I really like this idea. And there's, okay, so Liberty Oak, the larger courses, not everybody has to fill, I don't know, I didn't count the number. It looks like there's probably 25 here. So the first, you can go lay them out on the table, go fill in the ones you want. I personally think that's the best way to do this and get it done quickly. Anyone else?
We really didn't have time to do to the spirit that it was intended. but I will say that it's easier to some extent. I like the idea in sections, because we do have a little bit of opportunity to do that. I know before international, I wrote a card for every, because I'm a section leader for the baritones, and I wrote a card for each person in my section with a pin, a pin that looks like a sun with a pair of sunglasses on it, because our theme was smile or shine this year. And I said, in each card I had basically one sentence compliment that basically had a word that I thought explained each person, what they added to the section. And then that pin was in there, and we all wore them for the week of international, which I thought was, I appreciate every single person and what they offer in that section. And for me, it was easier to do that. Now, we didn't get a chance to all give each other compliments. And that's what I like about this, is it's not just coming from one person, but at least it was an opportunity to recognize each person. And, so that's how I've handled that piece of it.
I like both ideas. I think one is more, individual. This is from the broad range of chorus members, the people you stand next to. They're not in your section,
Ev, Laura's raised her hand.
Oh, Laura, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so we've been trying to figure out a way to do this electronically, digitally, because like everybody else, we don't have much time, and we rehearsed 2 choruses during our rehearsal time, so it's like really super constrained. So and we're doing other activities like this. So I don't know how we're going to be able to do this during rehearsal time. Hopefully we can integrate a tool like Kudos with Slack. We have a strong Slack culture in our chorus where people might do it. But I have to say, like a kind of concern that I have is that unless we do something to ensure that we get equitable engagement across everyone, I'm a little bit worried that like the people who are more introverted or newer to the chorus, or people who others have not interacted with very often, will just get fewer comments. And I'm trying to figure out how to mitigate that so that everybody feels appreciated through this process, and we don't run into something where this engagement ends up making some members feel less engaged.
What about ensuring that leadership, whether it's your board or your management team, is aware of that, and they will, and that's hard if you're going to do it electronically, to know. But that's really a good point. If there's 60 sheets up there, and people that know, the people that are vocal and extroverted and leaders, people may gravitate towards them versus some of the other folks that are a little quieter. So I don't know. I think leadership has to.
Pam?
Hi. I did this with a chorus that I was in Texas. And what we did was we put the paper, and if you can't hear me, let me know, because I have a horrible connection here. So we had a retreat, and we put on each paper, I put the person's name and put them on the wall around the room. And during the retreat, people went up and put down something about each person, one word, positive. And it worked out very, very well. And we had time. We had, 2.5 days. So and I don't know how soon we need to get this done, but it's a way that you do it over, good use of time, over, with a project that people can do. And it was very, very well received. Everybody took it home with them and they used it to take out every once in a while when they were having a bad day or whatever.
I don't have, other than our leadership team, I don't know how to encourage that. I think people are kind enough that they will notice that, and I'm hoping that people are kind enough that they will notice that. And Bonnie, what's your feel after you've had the experience with the lead section in our course? What do you think?
I think delegating who you were working with is super beneficial. It made sure everyone was getting the same amount. I think a good way to approach that throughout a chorus would be doing like the leads take care of the basses and the tenors take care of the berries, and then leadership fills in the gaps.
That's an idea. I know our directors have a plan. I'm not
Yes.
sure exactly what the plan is.
It sounds like we're doing a little celebration that day and watching international performances and kind of going around to each other's as we see fit. I don't know if there's a plan on how to make sure everyone gets the same or equal number of words.
And the good news is the directors are on board with getting this done during rehearsal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that leads me, Laura, thank you for that, because that is really an important consideration in ensuring that that it does not make somebody feel worse than, hurting someone is not the goal. Appreciating them and uplifting them and is the goal, and that could backfire if and again, maybe we need to be aware that someone who's only been in the chorus for a couple of weeks, us as the management team, need to be cognizant of that. The people do not know them, so there might be some folks that we need to just be aware. Laura?
Yeah, I would say in the past, what we've done when there's been things like this around feedback, I'm going to call this as a form of feedback, is we centralized the collection of information and then distributed them to everybody afterwards. Then we have more control over, not control, but like we were able to monitor how, if there are going to be holes before they become a problem.
That is a great solution. So whether it's the membership coordinator and their team, the team leader, whoever is going to be responsible, kind of keep an eye on that. And if there are trees that are not filled out all the way, get some of the leaders within the chorus to fill it out. I think that's a great idea. The other thing in listening to you all that really sticks out in my mind is we kind of talk about that everybody's got to be on the same page, and we give lip service to membership is everybody's job. But one of the key takeaways from the RMT networking session, and we've talked about this before, is the importance of everyone being on the same page. And that especially with membership and membership recruitment and membership retention, our music teams and our directors have to buy in, have to be a part of the process, because if they do not see the value, they're not going to give you the time or the support. And so that becomes, I don't know, a negotiating process, a brainstorming session. And that was one of the things that was repeated several times in the RMT networking session. What was some of the choruses do some Zooms like this with a facilitator and membership and marketing, or membership and the directors. So I think that might be something, and again, I'd like your feedback on that. I think it's going to be something that we have to have the directors coordinator work with the directors on. But I know, you know, for example, Paula Davis does a great presentation on the director's role in membership recruitment and retention. And she doesn't really pull any punches, basically. You know, she talks about the fact that sometimes when we all get together and everything, and so how's things going? How's things going? And everybody's, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's going great. It's going great. Well, we need to have that trust level that we can share, and that this is a process. I'm talking, you know, nirvana here. But we have to be able to share. We've all got struggles, and that just came out from listening to you all, that's something that we should probably, directors are at different stages, and we as membership teams are at different stages with our directors and with our teams in terms of the role of membership, retention, recruitment. Everybody wants more members, but there's gotta be some time invested in order for it to be successful, in order for people to stay, in order for people to come. Comments, questions? So it'd be interesting to see what do we have, another week and a half to do this? Yeah, to do the complimentary. I think it's a great idea. And I think we can expand it in the future. It's just,
I wish International gave us a little more time, like maybe 2 months notice, instead of tell you what the challenge is the first or fourth or fifth day of the month and say, well, it's due, you know. That's a wish on my part.
I think all of us agree, and that would be my feedback, you know, in the future. That they're great ideas, and that's why I said, you know, I know some of us, you know, this one, I think less so than the others, you know, doing the culture, doing the surveys. That was big, you know, that would take time, and so to have it accomplished and not become just a task was difficult. But I think whatever we gain from it is a positive. Mary, next slide. I think 2 slides over, the highlights. So we sat down membership coordinators from anyone who was attending Kansas City. We had an RMT membership networking. There was RMT finance officers networking, team leaders networking, communication, so on. And like I said, we have an RMT meeting next week, and one of the agenda items that I put down is sharing of the learnings from these membership networking meetings. Obviously, things are different in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world. And it was really interesting sharing having a DEI conversation with Lindsay in Texas. And what she is, Lindsay Cartier, who is the base of Titanium. She is the membership coordinator for Region 25, originally from the Quebec area, so the Northeast, having a conversation with what she deals with as a membership coordinator, diversity, equity, and inclusion in Texas versus us. So it was a wonderful networking session, and I'm still processing, honestly, just, you know, my notes, my thoughts, and some of the things I came back with. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. So these are just some of the ideas that came out of that 4 hours. One of the things, most of the regions have set aside a membership Google Drive, as well as potentially, you know, communications in other areas, to really share and have a database on what each membership coordinator does, what programs, what are their membership drives like, what correspondence are they sending out to potential new members, welcome letters, the audition process, what are they doing to celebrate, just what is involved in their membership drive. And I think that could really, to me, that is something I would really like for us to do at some point in the near future. Again, timing in the next 4 months is a little critical. But at some point I will send out this email, and, you know, maybe we can share what do our folders look like? What do our membership, you know, what do we give to new members? What correspondence? We don't need all to reinvent the welcome letters. You know, maybe you're saying something that I'd really like to use in Spirit of Syracuse versus Harmony Celebration Chorus is using something else. So I'd really like for us to be able to share what we're doing. Sounds like a plan, sounds like it would be useful. Laura, you're on my screen now, so if there's anyone else that's putting their hand up, I can't see you all.
I had a quick question about this. I think this is a great idea to share this information. And it strikes me that, well, I don't actually know, a big part of our membership recruitment are guest nights. Someone can't join our course without attending a minimum number of guest nights, you know, of rehearsals, and fully participating and interacting with chorus members, because chorus members have to ratify them. So I'm curious if that's unusual, or if everybody does that. So if that could be included in this resource, that'd be great.
I think included, because that's what Sirens does. And I'm not sure anyone else does it. Anyone?
I was in a chorus where it was up for a chorus vote, not the current one.
Yeah.
You know, everybody had to have a chance to get to know this person, because sometimes that's important to do before you let them in.
As it stands right now for Harmony Celebration, we do have a minimum. They need to attend a certain number of rehearsals consecutively, and then they'll go through their audition process. We used to do a member ratification of a new member. For some reason, somehow that kind of fell by the wayside. I'd like to have that come back, but I'm only one person out of a whole chorus who feels that way, or I believe I am. But our requirement is pretty much the consecutive rehearsals. And we're really good with our members. They do engage with guests. They really do make them feel welcome, and talk to them and make sure that they're comfortable. And that goes beyond Pam and I for membership. All of the chorus gets involved with new people coming through the door, which is really helpful for the new member. So
We do we do have a minimum attendance requirement of 3 rehearsals. They don't have to be consecutive, but we also allow the directors to make an exception, especially if it's a returning member or a sweet Adeline from another chorus. So, at least they've got the experience, under their belts.
And we, the Spirit of Syracuse, the management team votes. Laura, yours votes, others, the entire chorus votes?
Yeah, Sirens, everybody votes. It's a culture check, actually. So
I would love to have that be part of this. Maybe, so I will talk to the RMT. I think this is something we can start soon, and it doesn't have to be completed. It can be an ongoing process, but at least if I can get the Google Drive set up and that we just share and have it open maybe to TCs, presidents, and membership chairs.
So actually, can I just,
Yep.
I think the most important part about the ratification process for us, I mean, there has been a case where someone did not pass ratification. It's incredibly rare, but I think actually what it does is it really helps the new member feel welcome, to know that the chorus wanted them to be there, not just they passed their audition, but the chorus wants them to be a part of it. So I do think it's useful from that perspective. They may not understand that when they're auditioning, but shortly after they find out, because they have to then vote to include other people. So anyway, another thing to consider.
Yeah, that's a little different. I like that. Because
I can't find my hand to raise my hand. Laura, can I ask you a question? Does the whole chorus, do you need 100% approval, or is it a majority?
I think it's 2/3. It's not the whole chorus, but I think it's more than a majority. No, so it was 28 out of 40. So yeah, it's 2/3, 3/4. I don't know. It's more than 50%, but not as much as 100.
Okay, awesome.
So do you all think it would be beneficial to share this kind of information and put it in a place where we all have access to it?
Yes, best practices available. Good.
Okay, all right. I thought so. I mean, I'd like to potentially send another email. I'm thinking, because I'm also thinking of the timeline of the next 4 months, and the surveys I think is important too. Maybe I'll send out an email, and if people have surveys, that they can share them. I don't think that's as critical at this point as some of these other ideas. The next thing that we spent an awful lot of time discussing was rookie engagement ideas.
Yay.
And I'd like to preface this by saying, okay, as membership coordinators, we were talking, from a regional perspective. So some of my ideas are on a regional level to engage them, to celebrate them, but there's definitely things we as individual choruses probably do and can learn and can do. Okay, there's things that we do, and there's things that we can do that other people are doing, that regions are doing. And my verbiage is I really hate this, that I can't see all of you. I got to tell you, because I am such a visual person that it makes me crazy, but I'm trying to survive here. So some of the ideas, and I have contact information from people to get clarification for some of the things that they are doing. Like, for example, They do first time bingo was something that people talked about. Selfie bingos that people, whether it's within your chorus or within the region, taking pictures of the RMT, coming to an event, me sending out an email with the pictures of the people. I'm thinking here, so sending out the pictures of the membership coordinator, the communications coordinator, the new members having to find those people at the banquet and take a selfie, and that accomplishes, putting that picture in the bingo, and having a prize once they fill their bingo sheet up. You could actually do that within the course, some of the larger courses. Do we really think people know who all the members are on the management team? I don't think they do in our course, in Spirit of Syracuse. So sending out those pictures, sending a note and saying, can't wait to meet you at the banquet, or can't wait to meet you at regional, can't wait to meet you at Vocal Fest, come find me, and take a picture. So just kind of encouraging participation, encouraging having fun, encouraging sharing with, appreciating these new members, having rookie rallies at a number of regional conventions. They will have a rally like we do, the sings on the beginning of the weekend or at the end of the weekend, having something specifically for newbies. A lot of the regions, and again, it really depends on how your regional convention is the timeline of the regional convention. Ours is such that it really logistically, having people walk through the venue and be able to see the ESPCC as take a group of rookies through the ESPCC, logistically, I don't think is going to happen. Because our timeline is so tight. If we have, 25 quartets, at Friday becomes there's really a tight schedule. So one of the ideas that I had was perhaps prior to regional convention, maybe the January meeting, have a rookie class be a part of a Zoom meeting with our regional convention team leaders. So having Barbara Wright and or Jeannie Visito and myself walk people through that regional weekend. Other regions do, all the newbies are on a region Facebook. One of the things so my idea at this point, since we've got 4 months prior to regional, identify those that are competing for the first time and have them participate in this rookie class, and potentially identify some of us if they're attending the banquet on Saturday night. In the future, what I would like to do is be more proactive with it, is have courses send me their newbies, and me, I would like to send them an introductory welcome letter from myself, from the RMT. I think that goes a long way. Any ideas on what you all do as far as rookies are concerned, newbies? I know I'm kind of focusing on newbies for competition. Another thing I'd really like to do is, we as choruses do a great job of welcoming our new members. I'd like to get that on the regional Facebook page.
You mean the pictures of us welcoming the new members?
Yep. Any other ideas, things you're doing? Would this enhance it? Is it useful? What are your thoughts as far as, is this an area that we need to encourage participation?
I like the idea of adding some sort of regional event. I think that'd be really neat.
Laura?
Yeah, I second that. Because we haven't competed at the regional level in a couple of years, I would say almost half our chorus has never competed in a Sweet Adelines regional event. And it would be really great to have some engagement. I think it would be helpful to have some engagement at the regional level, not just with the leadership, but at opportunities to meet with other choruses would be super helpful. Even if that was like an informal thing, I don't think it has to be formal, but I think it'd be great.
I will think about where we could fit that in. It's
a great idea. Logistics is another matter.
well, here is the thing, and you don't have to tell me now. Some of our folks that are involved in rookie coordination, I will need your help, because if we're going to do that at regional convention, and I think there's opportunity, Thursday night leadership, now not all members, and we can figure out a time where I'm open to input, of when you think this might be most useful. But know that for me that weekend, I'm in charge of the judges. I cannot run a rookie class, so I would need help with that. Any of you that are interested, let me know. But in helping with it, I certainly would want to be a part of the beginning or the end. But to really after at the banquet, then I'm free. My responsibilities.
While I hate to schedule things over the quartet competition, I do recognize that most of our, I don't know if it's the case everywhere, but usually the rookies are not the ones who are in quartets. And, I think it's important that they participate in those, but that might also be an opportunity, maybe not during the competition, but maybe just before, just after, when the quartets are not performing, but would otherwise be engaged and couldn't participate in something like that.
So maybe when they're doing their walk-ons.
Yeah, something like that. I understand probably many in the leadership will be involved in the quartet competition part of it, but maybe there's an opportunity for people who are not in quartets to engage with the rookies in this way.
Okay.
Do we have an idea of how many people show up for the quartet contest versus being there for the whole weekend? Like people not being able to even get to Albany until, after work or something like that. Do we have that kind of data?
No, I can't imagine that we do, but I will check.
Yeah, I know how many like individual tickets we sell and stuff like that, but I don't know how many walk through the door necessarily, although I know how many badges get picked up. Most of them get picked up.
Oh, badges getting picked up is perhaps one measure, yes.
Yeah.
So I can tell you for Sirens, all our badges are picked up by Vicky. So, and we can give you individual numbers of like the trend of how much from our chorus, how many attend each part of the competition.
I'm just picturing that information might influence when we want to schedule something, because if rookies are the least engaged with quartets, they might, and I don't know, it just might be that we don't get many of them. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be 2 hours or 3 hours.
No. I'm just, physically, if they're not there yet.
No, but I was just thinking like maybe have like after the competition's over, having like either you know,
A
we've got
rookie
that.
rah-rah.
We've got that meal, right? And I know not everybody participates that, but section off a part of the dining room and say, this is for only for new members. Go sit over here. You know, that
Ooh.
kind of thing. At least it's utilizing, you know, or saying if, hey, can we have this room and everybody goes in Chapman if you're a new member and want to hear more about something, you know, just something.
Well, I know the Blue Notes has been doing like a reception at the bar. So it's not even like,
But that's Thursday, right? Or is it?
yeah, that's Thursday. Okay, well, if you have any ideas, I'd like to plan this, and whoever can come and we'll try, and whether, let's just think about it. And I think there are other opportunities, perhaps, you know, in the future at Vocal Fest. You know, maybe have a luncheon of the rookies. I think, like I said, have each chorus every month or every 2 months send a list of their new members in the future. And I would send them a personal note from myself and the regional management team. I think feeling welcome by more than just their chorus and knowing that there's a bigger organization out there, it is important as well. I will also tell you that this holiday show thing, and this is going back to the networking at International, it seemed to be something that a lot of regions, a lot of choruses are doing. So having, you know, come and sing and have it end with a performance or an event. Now, we've never done this before, and why we didn't do this before is beyond me. But last week, now, okay, just picture, we got back from International, okay? Timing wasn't the best, and a lot of preparation prior to had to occur. But yes, Bonnie, I see your little hand. And I was going to say either Bonnie or Deb can speak to our come and sing that we just started last week. Bonnie?
Yeah, so we started a Sing for the Holidays membership drive. We are thrilled with the number of the number of people that have come to attend. We have returning members, we have brand new members ranging from 18 years old to grandmothers. There were 11 people this week, and Debbie, we have 5 more.
At least 5 or 6 people who are planning to come this week.
Yeah. So
and it wasn't
been
billed as a membership drive, but of course.
But
the hope is it exposes the guests to what the chorus does and gives them a taste of it. And yes, we're hoping that convinces them they want to stick around.
Okay, so the carrot at the end was a performance that Spirit of Syracuse has been doing. This will be the 3rd or 4th year with the Syracuse University Brass Ensemble. So we have been performing the last 3 or 4 years. It's at Hendricks Chapel, which is a gorgeous venue, historic. I don't know, I should know more about it, but it is a gorgeous venue on the hill, part of the university. It is a Sunday evening. Nothing will get you more in the holiday spirit than coming to this or singing at this event that is on the radio as well as on the universe on several channels, but it's a gorgeous setting. It's you know, floor to ceiling windows. If it's snowing outside, you're singing holiday songs and the snow is falling, and it's a big deal singing with the brass ensemble. They play some songs, we sing some songs, we do some things together. So this year it's come and sing with us, with the end product being they get to perform at this event. Now, it didn't hurt that our co-director graduated from the program and knows some of the individuals there, but I'm sure there's performances, there are events in every community that, and we do not, it's not focused on membership. It's really focused on come and sing.
We're not even singing the audition song well during this program.
It's Jennifer talking again. We did something like that before our holiday show last year, and it did bring back some previous members, even if it was only temporarily, plus also some new members. And it was a great fun thing to do. And it was a way that people who maybe can't make the commitment now could still do something for a little while, and it plants a seed as well. So sometimes it doesn't necessarily result in membership at the moment, but it increases our contact list, and it increases our engagement with some of the people who have left the chorus in the past, can bring some people back. And the music is relatively accessible and easy. So it's a quick way for people to learn. You know, the chorus had a bigger program, but the people who came in for the program learned like 3 or 4 songs and got to sing those pieces. And that was great. We loved it. I think we are having a membership drive in the spring after International, and we're probably going to try to do something similar because we have a show coming up in like June or something, and maybe we'll be able to include the new members in our show for a couple of songs in that way. Or not new members, but people who are coming to the membership drive.
And so this seemed to be something that a lot of the regions are doing and having success with. I will tell you also, though, that coordination between membership, the music team, the directors and marketing is crucial. The music you select, dependent upon your culture and what we've selected each year a funny song, like last year we did Hippopotamus, the year before we did Grandma. What are we doing this year? Oh, that craziness.
Cold and fugue season.
Yep.
Cold and fugue.
Cold and fugue season, yeah. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Let's see. Okay, next slide. Next slide, Mary. I have talked about this. One of the things that many of the regions do is hold membership with director Zoom meetings and membership and marketing Zoom meetings. I think we as a team, as membership, have talked a lot that we know we need to do. We need to do something with, well, we need to do both, actually. As I said earlier, the importance of the director's role in membership recruitment and retention can't be under stressed. And then getting marketing involved. Maybe one of our sessions can really focus on marketing, but those are two of the things that other regions found important to their membership.
I'm just looking for clarification. Are the regions coordinating these membership director Zooms, or they're just reporting that many of their courses do this and find it helpful?
Both.
Okay.
I'm thinking some of our, our leadership, potentially our regional leadership can really be focusing on membership and the director's role. I think both, honestly. The other thing that came through loud and clear, which is no surprise to anyone, is, one of the barriers why they leave, it is cost, is finances. And so one of the ways to mitigate that is to talk more, do more in terms of fundraising and putting together that connection that fundraising has to membership retention. The role of fundraising, the more fundraising we do, increases the likelihood that finances will not be as much of a barrier and will increase membership retention. Kind of sounds like a no-brainer. Again, sharing with each other, we're all in different parts of 2 states here, and what works in one area may not work with another. But I think, we need to share with each other what we're doing and what's working. And if something is particularly working for one chorus versus another, I don't want to take up a lot of time now, but is there some fundraising ideas that some choruses are having a lot of success with?
Yeah, HCC is having a moderate success with fundraising through the script program, so the online gift cards. And what we do with that is the percentage that we get back goes to the member, and it helps reduce what we have an assessment fee, fundraising assessment, that we're calling it a fair share for each member to, it's their responsibility for fundraising for the chorus for the year. So with this script program, we take that percentage that they're getting back, and it goes towards the amount that they owe for fair share for the year. So that cuts down part of their expense for the chorus. Makes it a little less expensive to get through the year.
Boy, I think we may need, Spirit of Syracuse may need to talk to you about that. Because we're just beginning that process of the scripts and we've never done the fair share. Does anybody else? We've talked about it, wanting to do it. Yes, Mary? No, don't move,
Yeah.
Mary. I wanted you to
No, I just need to come off mute. That's all. I mean, it's been something that we've talked about. We've had varying levels of interest in doing that, I think, because everybody has different levels of how much they can do financially with. I mean, and I know you're not talking about like people giving their own time and stuff like that, but we've got people who've got restrictions on what they can do in the workplace and stuff like that. And as you guys know, this tends to become your primary friend group. So it's when you start reaching out, you kind of start tapping the same people over and over again. So it's been a bit of a struggle, but we've thought of different things. I think the main thing that we, and what I would encourage you guys to is that we try to do is like help folks with like regional meals and things like that, because it encourages participation in those things, but also tries to lower the cost, so we're not paying $75 for a dinner or something. So that's one of the things that we do to help with membership retention, but it's not really a fundraiser. That's just what we use our fundraising dollars for.
But did we ever talk about doing the concept of a fair share?
Yeah, it didn't fly.
Anybody else do that in their chorus? No. Okay. All right.
But I would love to hear how people are doing it, because
Yes.
we don't do that. What we predict how much we're going to get from gigs and shows, and then we just take that off the top of like what our regular expenses would be, and then our membership fees are rather modest, at least the portion that goes to the chapter.
Yeah, maybe Kathy, at some point, one of our next, you can talk about, gather the materials and share it with us.
I'll try to
I-
pull more information together and we can share that, yeah, because there's a couple other people involved in the chorus that operate that too, more, more so. So we'll pull information and hopefully have it ready for the next time.
Okay, yeah, that would really be appreciated because you hear about other choruses, throughout the organization doing that, but how it's done and how it works.
Yeah.
I think would really be important for us. Community engagement, we really talked about that. A lot of community engagement. One of the things that they talked about at the networking was a number of choruses set up small, like little singing groups at local fairs and festivals, even if they were not paid to sing there, just to kind of expose people to barbershop, to the chorus.
And
Again,
at least, from the Spirit of Syracuse standpoint, we get people visiting rehearsal because we do those things.
Yeah, a lot of those are good during the especially during the summertime, the community engagement where you can go out to local farmers markets, a
Yeah.
group of chorus members, and sing for them, and it does bring a couple of people in. At least, like you say, Deb, just for at least looking.
I know.
First step is to get them in the door.
Yeah.
Right, but the more you do, the more likely and the more people know about us, and it's a process. I know we talked a little bit in the past about the open audition process. A number of courses around the organization and the membership coordinators really talked about the potential of having the open auditions, and we talked about that, I think, on one of our previous membership meets. It depends upon your community. I think we talked about, in New York City, in college towns where there are programs, students are used to the concept of having an open audition. And I think they're more successful in those areas than in some of the smaller rural areas. But certainly, I believe, Laura, you spoke to it the last time, that you've had success with that.
That might not have been me. We don't do open
You don't,
audition.
but
Yeah.
oh, open audition, you do.
We have periods of time where auditions or where
Right.
guests are invited to participate, but we don't have open auditions.
Okay. I'll have to look into that more. That kind of opens it all up to, I think your kind of auditions are more focused on the university environments, the New York City places where people are used to auditioning versus open auditions, I think, is something different. A lot of the regions, and this, I don't think we need to focus on it here, but they were having 30-minute Zoom monthly or quarterly Zoom meetings on how to update databases by choruses. I think we have done an incredible job over the last year. Kudos to you all, honestly. I mean, there's still situations, but the databases, the regional database has been updated, as well as the Sweet Adelines International. And between Phyllis, the finance coordinator, and myself at regional assessment times, I think we've worked with chorus leadership to identify who needs to be added, who needs to be removed, and the ability to, and the importance of updating your databases. So I say thank you to you all, because let me tell you, 3 years ago, it was a mess. And there's still, you know, and I'm willing to make phone calls to international, but the database update has been accomplished to a great degree. Thank you. One of the other things they talked about that's not on here a lot was having a number of awards, recognition of individual members, not necessarily for accomplishing tasks, for being unsung heroes. I see a lot of the choruses. I lurk in your Facebook pages and see a lot of awards being given to individuals, but the membership coordinators really stressed a lot of these, having a monthly unsung hero award, someone who participated in something that made life easier or more fun. The list goes on and on and on. You know, unsung heroes. You know, we have a management team award that is the management team decides, and it's someone who is not necessarily recognized, who works behind the scenes. There's so many opportunities for us to recognize our members, be creative, you know, just any comments on that?
Bonnie raised her hand.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been looking at is the Rich Tones rookie program, and they actually do a rookie member of note.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. And I thought that would be something interesting to look at.
Do you know the criteria? I mean, is it so it's people vote?
Yeah. So I don't know if they do it regionally or just in the chorus, but all new members from that regional, they vote chorus wide and create that special award for that person.
So it's done at every regional?
I don't know. It doesn't
Oh, okay.
address that. It could be a regional thing. But
I meant once a year because of regional? That's when they vote?
yeah, they do it like once a year after regional, just like we do all our appreciation stuff.
Right, okay.
I think that's a great idea. We could also do it as part of the Zoom that we have talking about regional convention, you know, present the idea then, and then they could vote. Whatever. I like that idea. As the more things we can do to celebrate the rookies, the better. And I think we need to do more than just having, you know, the rookie first timer ribbon. Okay. So next slide, please, Mary. This is really just topics for future discussion. Take a look, you know, like I said, I'm going to send you this. We can talk. I'd like to really focus on leadership's role in retention, maybe have a session talking about the first year, fundraising, finance, the financial role in member retention. The next few membership mission retention topics, once we get past the complimentary, December's is entitled Sing, 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 and it's really about community involvement. January, so I think it's going to be I don't know what it's going to be. To me, probably is a picture of a group of y'all singing in the community. January is Baby Come Back, and the premise there is, you know, maybe there's former members out there who had to leave and we're in a place where they would love to rejoin the chorus and just need a little push. So I think that that's the focus there. And then the matchmaker is about matching, let's get matching. A lot of successful quartets in the organization were created when a musical leader or chorus director randomly put people together. That's the I don't know what it's going to be, but sounds interesting. I will know next week my thoughts. So we've got the next membership meet on January 18th. I think I was thinking maybe something in February. March is convention. So, and we have leadership thrown in there maybe, and quartet day. So there's a lot of things going on. But I think the January and February, and one of those I would like to be for rookies talking about regional convention. If you think that's, I think most people seem to think that was useful. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Thank you all so much for participating.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you. And it's always good to hear people's perspectives and their ideas. And it's good to mix it up like this.
Thanks. And like I said, we'll send this out after this. And Kathy, I'll be talking to you.
Sure you will.
These
All
really
right.
are so valuable. Thank you for pulling them together.
Thank you so much. I was a little off my game today with this, not being able to see you all. I am a very visual person, and the thought of speaking to a blank screen would have made me crazy. But thanks for all the participation and the sharing. It really, it is invaluable. And we all need to get together at regional coming up in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It'll be fun. And you all think it's a good idea to do a Zoom for the rookies
Yeah.
and talk about, and we could talk, let me know. I mean, it would be great if we had a diagram of the ESPCC, but I don't think that's necessarily what people need. I think that
I know, Jen, you probably saw this, but they sent for international, they actually sent pictures of people walking through the pattern. And I realized we aren't going to be able to do that for this regional, but we could take the videos at this regional. We can talk about it on Sunday. We have an RCC meeting on Sunday, so this is a sweet Adelines weekend. But we could talk about like getting videos and walking people through it. I thought that was exceptionally helpful. And it talked about like the pattern for folks who are in scooters or wheelchairs, like what they had to do that was different. And I think it would be a help to do
That would be great.
like that.
Yeah, I think last year the RMT proposed this, but we proposed it. It was proposed way too late in the process. And the realization that keeping the ESPCC open for just something like this is not financially feasible, and trying to find the time Friday morning is really difficult because we have a facilities inspection at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and that with the judging panel to set the sound and lighting, that's obviously critical. Then the quartets do a walkthrough, And with 20 some quartets, the amount of time just does not lend itself to have rookies, to have the newbies walk through.
Right, that's why I'm saying do a video.
No, I'm just explaining to them,
Yeah.
that would be the best time to do it. If it was, a region that does this, that's in the ballroom, they don't have extra cost associated with the facility and keeping the facility open. At a time when people are going to be there to do this. So I think you're right, Mary. That would be great to have someone.
Lee Populek for Liberty Oak did a whole thing like that for international, just for our chorus. But she took pictures. She didn't do a video, but she took like a whole series of 15 pictures that showed exactly how to get from our hotel to the rehearsal room and then to the actual area of competition. It was actually fairly funny because it was so very specific and included things like, okay, people with scooters are going to go over to this elevator instead and everything. But it was really helpful for people who needed that kind of visual picture. And she's very involved, I know, a lot of times with regional competition too. So she's someone who has done this before.
Who
and
was it?
Lee Populek.
Okay, of course. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
I think if we take time to take video of walking through the pattern, it would also be great to to have some introductions to who the choruses are of Region 15, who are people that are notable. Like I know when you first join Sweet Adelines, and a region, there's like lore around, people, and you don't know any of that when you join. I mean, it can take years before you are like, when somebody says someone's name and they were just like, oh yes, and you're new and you don't know who they're talking about. But I mean, it'd be great if we could, even if there was a single videographer whose job was to just take a bunch of video that then got edited later, which included the pattern, but it also included some of the social, like what it's like to be in the social part of it, what the choruses are, sort of to capture the flavor of them, because the images and sort of what we say on our websites doesn't feel like enough to really get someone to understand what it's like to be a part of this community.
Yeah.
I may talk to Alexis about that, because, she's marketing, and whoever that's an important point, at the party, at the banquet, at your rehearsal, at our rehearsal, just random shots. And, it will have to be a little different this year because we don't have that ahead of time, but definitely introducing the choruses and the people. I'm sure people and the convention team, specifically, like, I'm sure people like you don't all know me. You see me sitting in the pit with the judges, you probably wonder, what the heck is she doing there? What, we all, the more information, the more personal it becomes. And there is, like you said, there is so much that first year, that first year for me has been a long time ago. And so I've grown into it, but great points. Mary, we'll work on this. We'll talk about this. Don't talk about it we'll talk about it before we bring it up to the RCC.
Yeah, I think we might need to run that by Barb first, but I don't think she would be opposed to it necessarily.
Well, I did ask her about participating in a Zoom meeting with the rookies, and she said yes. So she said yes. So that's, I think we have to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
We forget sometimes, we're not new, and new people have a lot of questions, and they don't know what they don't know. And that's why we're there. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you so much for participating. So much.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great
Bye.
afternoon. Bye.
Have a good one.